Aye, this is multi-topic talk. Today we finish the retrospective of the DC's Legends of Tomorrow TV show. We cover season 6, aka the Constantine TV show, and season 7, aka the last season, aka the cancelled ending. I hope everyone will enjoy, even if we may differ in opinion, because I know at that point the core audience of the show do like the show a lot. By the end of the show, well, the audience is different than the audience we had when it first came out. So let's break down both season to finish this adventure there with the legends. I will say this, I'm a bit disappointed because the show ends on a cliffhanger, even if I'm not the biggest fan of what the show became over the years. I wanted a proper ending, and I feel like each time I rewatch the show, I actually finish the season with episode 12, because episode 12 feels like a proper closure for the legends and their adventures. Episode 13 just feels like, yeah, let's tease season 8. Oh my, enter fourth season. 1 million for episode 1. 0.94 million for episode 2. This is really low. A lot of people just decided they stopped watching the show after the third season. They were like, we are done. It's no more for me. Yeah, that's how it goes. Viewership dropped. So, Legends of To Meow Meow. 1.1 million. Lucha de Apuestas, 0.92 million. So they were able to maintain around a million. They did struggle, but they did maintain around a million. But you can already see that the numbers are really low. They lost around zero point 0.5 million viewer in the space of one season. Third season killed a lot of their viewer. And now it's even worse because this is very low considering the show started with 3 million. It went to around 2 million by the end of season 1 and the start of season 2. And at the start of season 3, only like 1 million and a half stood there. And now it's even lower. We are still in the trend of barely a million. Term of service, 0.99 million. 8 worlds, 1.05 million. So, here we are, everyone. Look at these numbers. Will we drop below a million next season? I think this season the average was roughly 1 million. Season 3 was roughly 1.5. Season 2 was roughly 2. And the first season was 3-2 because they lost a lot of people in the first season. Oh my, we hit new lows again. Meet the Legends, 0.72. Miss Me, Kiss Me, Love Me, 0.77. That's low. The show is slowly dying. They lost so many viewers. Now you'll tell me it's only 0.2. But just look at how it started and now. People are no more invested. So we get the mid-season finale with Ray leaving the team. 0.67. Zari, not Zari, 0.65. Wow. I think that'll be like the number we will get until the end of the show. It's like 33% of what the viewership was is left. Like, they lost half of their audience with season 3 and 4. And I will defend season 3 as much as I can because I still think the show was good. But they lost so many viewers. It's crazy. We get the godly awful sitcom 0.76, followed by the season finale 0.73. I see these numbers and I am like, it's bleeding viewers. People are no more watching the show. I think at that point it's as low as what Arrow had in their final few seasons, like season 6, season 7. Maybe Arrow was worse, I don't know. But yeah, that's not good numbers. Your show is not healthy when it's that kind of low. Let me laugh a bit here. The audience score dropped again. But just take a look at how many people covered the show. I think season 4 we had roughly 100 critics and now only 13. So let me get this straight. A lot of people dropped out of the show because of season 4. Critics dropped out of the show because of season 4. And now you're telling me season 4 was good? If it was that good, tell me, critics, why didn't you watch and review season 5? I think what's going on there, a lot of critics didn't like season 5, so they didn't post their critique. That's one thing. The other thing would be, they just dropped out. They didn't watch season 5 because season 4 was so bad. But who am I? I'm just multi-topic talk, right? So, audience 64%. Critics 100. Ow. Ow. This hurts my brain. So I recognize the comment on the right, it's mine. So, let's do this. So bad I could barely even finish it. 3 out of 10. 2 out of 10, cheap writing and nothing makes any sense. Season 1, 2, 3 was much better than the rest of the show. It's just not good. Another 3 out of 10. This season was so bad, so bad. I could barely even get through the very end, and nothing was done in a good way. And everything was too different from the previous season. Now let's read out my comment. That's funny because a year and a half ago I wasn't as critical. I gave this a 3 out of 10. But I was quite generous back in the day. I think it's a 2 out of 10. So only a grade would change. Let's read out what I had to say back then. We keep going with the downfall of Legends of Tomorrow. Season 5 is without a doubt worse than 4, sadly. I once thought Season 1 was okay to watch. I once thought Season 2 was great. I once thought Season 3 was amazing. The best. Now I simply skip parts of the episode when suddenly the cast think they are shooting scenes for High School Musical. Even Constantine forgot he got superpowers. Any characters can replace the other one. Seeing one of the legends leaving us made me sad, but maybe it was for the best. I can't stand the new Zeri. Please kill her off. That's probably the answer to another writer, or she's playing herself, one of the two. I want the other one. Constantine saved the day again. Its storyline with Astra and with Elle is the only thing to look forward. Some episodes are boring to watch. Charlie is cool, but here again, we all forget she got superpowers. Sarah getting superpowers? What the F is going on? A lot turned into fanfiction. Say otherwise, you're blind and probably in love with the show. That became a parody of its own parody. I can't understand you. Even the comedy aspect is painful to watch. Half a star, so this is 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. This is the season where the show went from so bad it's good to just bad. One of the show ever. Oh my. I'm really impressed. This is why I'll adopt the best season of Legends of Tomorrow series, the creativity and the continuation of the event of the 4th season, which was also amazing, by the way, bring us to a beautiful audio-visual experience beside entertaining us with some very elaborated comedy. Are you kidding me? Romance, are you kidding me? An action scene. There was no action, bruh! At the point of creating a certain closeness to the audience and a tone of realism. Do I end the video here? I'm speechless. How can someone say that? How is it creative? The Loom of Fate is the same shit as the Spear of Destiny. The big difference, the Spear of Destiny was good. The Loom of Fate is shit. Don't get me starting on when people start singing and dancing, or when there's a freaking sitcom. Can you honestly think it's the best season? If you do, bruh, this show was made for you. Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 is very exciting and fun season in the Arrowverse. This season is better than Season 4 in many ways possible, and even the episodes were exciting and more action-packed than Season 4. This season thankfully doesn't focus on the aspect too much and pack some emotional punches. One of those including Ray Palmer's send-off, leaving 2 of the original legends left. Some of the problem I have this season is Zari new version, and some of the episode. In Season 4 we saw Zari die because the timeline was getting messed up, and because of that, Season 5 we saw a new version of herself. This new version wasn't a good character and came off as annoying at many times. The episodes all ever are action-packed, but there are one too many filler, which was being a big problem with the series as a whole. It became a problem in Season 3. Season 2 barely had filler. Overall, this season was very good and was definitely an improvement over Season 4. I would recommend this show and this season. This season was absolutely amazing. So, there's a big divide here, and I think it's clear for anyone watching this video. Half of the people are on board, the other half hates it, like really hard. There's no people saying it's just average or it's just mediocre. Either people are saying it's godly awful, or people are saying it's amazing. There's no nuance, there's nothing in between. So, with that being said, I leave that thinking to you. Is it good? Is it bad? Are the shill right to defend and praise? Are the haters or the disappointing ones right to be disappointed? That makes me laugh so hard. We went from 13 to 7. Half of the critics that were there last season are gone. And even the user rating went a bit down, but not as down. 100 versus 66. This season was godly awful. It was worse than 5. So, here, 3 out of the 4 comment hated the show so far. It's better than season 5, but the show seems to have lost its touch. 4 out of 10. I swear the writer had a bucket list and it was Gary. 10 out of 10. 1 out of 10. This show was entertaining when it started, but they kept adding so much more stuff that was completely unrelated to the original plot. It seemed as if every time a new character, an exciting character was introduced, they would be gone within a couple of episodes. If that wasn't the case, the character would be so overworked and overused that I would eventually hate them. I watched this show to make fun of it at this point. I don't think the acting is terrible or anything, but it's just not very good anymore. The first 3 seasons were great, though. I'm with you, I'm on board. I like roasting the crap out of this shit. It's better than season 5, but the show seems to have lost its touch. So, 2 persons are saying the same thing. And they both gave the same score. So, here, we got 2 people that liked it. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. These 2 really liked the show. This show was made for the both of you. This is one of the best series ever. I really enjoyed this season. Thought it was fun and enjoyable. I really like how Sarah became a alien hybrid and Gary being a alien all along that I didn't expect but enjoyed, and was enjoying Astra development as a character, especially with her starting to learn magic. My favorite part was Constantine. Mine as well. That was the only good thing about that season. I found it interesting that the guy who gave everything to magic suddenly lost it and begs the question, what is John Constantine without all this magic? Nothing. And this is part of the charm. That's amazing. I did like his journey to get his magic back by using the fountain, but I was glad that it wasn't just he was worthy, because he is not. And I really enjoyed the Scarlet Lady that gave him his magic reference, Constantine Demon Blood, and how it made him stronger, and the way he was dealt with the addiction and his dark side. I actually agree. Constantine was the only good thing about this season. My only real complaint is that I kind of wish they had based the season more on Constantine, because the character is loved and feels like he deserves a big one, especially since this show was cut short. And if this was the character final season, especially on the last episode, felt like he needed more to do for this last one. I agree. Now, I really hate the fact that they killed off screen Sarah and now she is an hybrid. That's disgusting. But these are writers that hate superheroes, so I guess it's fine for them to like spit on every Sarah Lance fan. Next up, this is my comment from 1 year and a half ago. Here I thought we couldn't have worse than what we got during season 5. I was wrong. The parody of a parody of another parody. This is season 6 for you. I skipped many scenes during many episodes, and on my most recent watch I actually skipped entire episode, like a lot. They ruined their only interesting character only to give him his biggest storyline. Constantine is no more. Sarah is no more as well. Constantine by himself made some episode watchable despite atrocious material. Matt Ryan pulled this off. He stole the show. The villain was interesting at first. In the middle, he became a bit more interesting. At the end, the villain turned into a bad joke. Now, I will say this. In the end, I don't think Constantine had terrible material. He had actually great material. I was just really pissed and salty because I lost him. Because I enjoyed so much the character. Sometimes some aspect of him were kind of shit. Like his relationship with Zari felt forced because he never really wanted a relationship in the past. It's a bit off character. And it's disgusting to think about it. But overall, his character was still very good. It felt like Constantine. Anyway, I miss season 1, 2, 3. If you didn't like season 4 or 5, don't watch this one. Or watch it only for the Constantine storyline. Most jokes don't even land anymore, and writer consider this show a comedy. What the F is going on? After being done with this season, I was wondering if season 7 was worth watching. I almost pulled the plug on the show there. End the show already. When an animal suffer, give him a last meal, then kill him once he's asleep. You will do him a favor. This is how I still feel. Like season 7 wasn't worth watching. Hell, the entire show, like, you can end season 3, that's fine. Don't watch the rest. So next up, half a star, so this is a 1 out of 10. Used to love the show, never took itself seriously, but was always fun. This season, they really went full-blown woke, seriety, intersectionality, feminist, white men, hating bullcrap that has ruined most good television these days. I will put a stop here. I have seen the same show as you, and I won't go that far to bash on it. I don't think it was that woke. Yes, maybe some aspect were, maybe some subplot were, but season 6, Legends of Tomorrow as a whole is not that woke. If it's bad, it's not because some aspects are sometimes woke. It's because the show itself is bad. The comedy is bad. The characters are shit. The writing is awful. The story makes no sense. They don't even take themselves seriously. They think it's a praise when you say that. But it's not. It's not. Even a comedy will take itself seriously at some extent. Otherwise, every attempt to comedy will fall flat. It won't work. It won't be funny. Anyway, the writers are so pathetic as to be unable to simply write their work ideology into the script, but rather have it on the nose. These people still don't get that the world does not want this bull. They are writing for the 5% of the population who are miserable on Twitter all days with their pronoun in the bio. I cannot take that comment seriously. It's the same thing as taking someone that loves the show and saying it's a 5 out of 10. I cannot take that comment seriously because it's just because he doesn't like sometimes having woke stuff. Look, I don't like woke stuff, okay? I will never defend that. I'm not some SJW. But I think you throw woke everywhere, it lost its meaning, and it affects your critique itself. Because if your only issue is it's woke, you just sound like an anti-woke person, and you don't seem honest on how you feel about this show or this TV or this movie, whatever. A good critic will be able to nuance. A good critic will be able to find other issues elsewhere. Because usually when you see woke stuff, it's because there are other issues in the writing, in the story, in the characters. But you're not smart enough to see them. That's why you think it's just woke and this is why it's bad. It's because you cannot craft an opinion of yourself. You need to throw buzzword, you need to say something everyone will understand. So you don't even understand what you didn't really like outside of it's woke. It feels empty. Next comment. 1 out of 10. I've disliked this show from the beginning. I will occasionally give it another try to see if maybe it gets better, but nope, it's just more of the same crap. I can take this one more seriously because it doesn't throw the buzzword. Yeah, it doesn't throw the buzzword. Season 6 on this first page is poorly received. Audience didn't like it. The majority of the comment we covered are negative and they don't like the show. And this is funny because there was a 66%. So this means maybe on the next page, maybe, this page will be filled with people that like the show. And we will barely have people that disliked it. I won't say it's as divided as season 5. I think this season is really not well received. Even if it has a 66%, I don't think it's well received. People didn't like the show anymore. Enter Legends of Tomorrow's 6th season. As I am recording this part of the video, I am just done watching the 10th episode. Now, I will admit, episode 2, 3, 4, 5, and 9 are so awful. I actually skipped them because I do remember how bad each single episode I just mentioned were awful. Meet the Legends is basically the Legends now making some fast food, and they track an alien that used some weird food to intoxicate people. Amazing. By the way, Sarah is stranded on an unknown planet at that point in the show, and the Legends, they really want to find her. Episode 3 is another freaking musical episode, and they kill an alien by accident, and it's played for a joke because you need to laugh. Oh yeah, and episode 4? Guess what's going on in episode 4? They play a freaking football game. I am losing brain cell just trying to remember this crap. The 5th episode is the only one in the bunch that really matter, because this is the episode where Sarah dies again. But this time around it's for good because she doesn't deserve a proper send-off. Well, in my books, she does deserve a proper send-off. She did deserve her freaking happy ending, but the writer, they have seen that otherwise. They have seen Sarah death as another way to make you laugh because she died again. And now the new Sarah is a clone that is basically immortal. Amazing. Now, the bigger plot with this episode was actually somewhat decent until freaking animation take over and they do another freaking musical because it's Legends of Tomorrow. This season start off godly awful, giving some freaking season 4 vibe. And keep in mind, season 5 was worst, but at least season 5 I've seen most of it. And season 4 I skipped most of it. So the whole point of episode 5 is for John Constantine to lose his powers because we need another story type where a main character on the show loses powers. Because every superhero TV show does that. Now, I will admit later on in the season, Constantine's storyline is actually the only good thing about this season. But here's the thing. It's still disgusting to take away his powers. It's even more disgusting because as this show was going on, as this season was airing, they were about to lose the Constantine right. This is why they wrote him off. They were talked back in the day of a Black Constantine TV show made by HBO Max. Now this is 2 years ago. And now Zaslav took over. He destroyed the project before it was even born, while he announced Keanu Reeves sequel Constantine number 2. Is it official? Well, it's one of the plans, but we got nothing concrete right now outside of Zaslav told us. So, because they wanted to do another Constantine TV show, well, Legends was forced into killing off Constantine. But even there, at that point in the show, most of the legends are gone. Now we only got characters that were created for this show. Nate, Berad, New Sarah, Eva, Zari. The only OG one is Mick, but don't worry about that. He's leaving at the end of this season. It's not like he had good storyline, it was just a leftover with subplot here and there. Episode 5 was really bad. And yeah. Moving on, episode 9. Why is it so low? Well, this main plot in this godly awful episode was basically let's save Berad's childhood sitcom. His sitcom is about to get destroyed and Berad doesn't want that sitcom to go away. So Berad and the legends must save the sitcom. This is terrible. I'm telling you, I'm losing brain cell when I think about these. Now, I am done with my big rant over these 5 awful episodes. Let's cover the ones that were watchable, I guess. Ground Control, Sarah, Lens. So, this episode was actually fine. Now, the reason why it deserves a D for me is the humor. The tone of this season is not that great. They try really hard to be funny, but they are not really funny. And I will be honest, I've seen that episode earlier today, so I can't really exactly remember other issues outside of Zari is annoying, Berad is a bad character, and it's not funny anymore. They call this a comedy, but I'm not laughing. Sarah being separated from the team. It's very important because they want to separate her so she can die. But the whole idea there is wrong. The show doesn't work as well. Now, the biggest explanation I got on why they decided to kill her off and to take her away is to create their own character, so they don't really pay for the rights anymore for Sarah Lance. And maybe the other reason would be the illness that took over for like 2 years, 3 years. So that was really hard to film TV shows, and because of that, well, Sarah was always interacting with the same bubble, and letting her be with the legend would break the bubble, so it's just for like illness purposes, I guess. Episode 8 was really bad. Spooner is not a great character, she's a plot device, and that's it. Now, Bishop's Gambit, and back to the Future Part 2. These two episodes were actually fine, even if I really hate that new plot thread where Sarah is now a clone, and the big plot twist that the true Sarah is dead for good now was just there for the shocker value, and that bothered me a lot. And episode 7 was all about the legends trying to save Sarah, and part of me really wanted them to succeed, even if that would mean they break time and crap. Because I really don't like the idea of that new Sarah. That's not my Sarah. My Sarah deserved a much better send-off than being intoxicated by the air of a planet. But hey, these writers, they need to do the same kind of storyline, the same kind of outcome. This time around, they want to change the past, but they cannot change the past, because changing the past will create other issues. Okay, we know that. Why did you bother telling us that story again? For like the 5th time. At least season 5, as bad as it was, we didn't get that trap for a 5th time. The 5th time is now. Here we are with episode 10. My favorite episode this season. And you know why? It was Constantine-centric. And the fools in the ship, they were the subplot there. And even there, Mick's storyline was kind of fine. You see the guilt, you see his sadness. You see good character. He's the only one on board that is a good character right now. Anyway, Constantine now is becoming a junkie because he really missed his magic and he lost part of himself after losing his powers. But guess what? This is something we see a lot. And other time I just feel like it's done better. And it's just sad to see the great Constantine just going on that downfall, on that really bad season. The show may has its flaws with season 4, 5, and 6. Constantine was hands down the best part of the show in the last 3 seasons. It was amazing in the 3rd season. And now I see him slowly dying. At least his character gets some kind of growth, because he need to learn how to live without magic, or he need to learn how to sell people so he can have his drug. Man, that's too dark for Legends. And I will admit, even if it's not funny anymore, this time around the tone was actually fine. Episodes 6 and 7 were kind of sad. And they didn't break the tone with stupid humor. Yes, humor was bad in both episodes, but it didn't clash with the emotion they wanted to deliver and to give. And this is something to praise coming from a show that went downhill fast with the fourth season. So far, I dislike this season. This is probably a bit better than 5. But hey, there's more. There's more because I remember later on in this season we get a bowling alley episode. That episode is godly awful. My. What's going on with this show? Oh, should I cry? Should I laugh? Only one critic! Are you kidding me? We went from 13 to 7 and from 7 to 1. People just didn't care about the show anymore. Nobody was watching anymore. Is it because it got cancelled? Is it because it's just straight up bad? And now this is funny because here I see 77%. But look at how many people covered this season. In previous season we had like 200-ish comments from the audience, 300, 400, 500, 1000 maybe. I don't know. Now it's 133, so this means less people were watching the show. Probably a lot of people were turned off by season 6. Probably a lot of people realized the show was cancelled, so there was no point for them to watch. There's a lot of probably. If we just take a look at that score, we could think it's a good season. I don't think it was good. Anyway, let's read some other comments. Worst season ever. It ended up with a cliffhanger and it should not do that. Yeah, I agree, and the show was cancelled on top of that. 1 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Man, nothing interesting. I wish it was still season 3. Looking back, they should have ended it 3 years ago. An improvement over 6 and 5. But thank God this show ended. I agree. I 100% agree. It's really well put together. The acting was amazing. Has great representation. And it's just so humorous. Oh my. I lost even more brain cells. I am losing my sanity when I read that. The last 2 seasons, they really took things too far. It seems like they decided to have fun and try take it to the next level. And for some reason, no one stopped for a second and say maybe things went too far. Really sad thought to see the show become a victim of the merger and thus not get the ending the character deserved, like Arrow. I mean, it should have been cancelled like in season 5. Or let's just say season 6. Even if 6 is the worst. Season 7 was too far. It was too much. So this guy 6 out of 10, sorry. Nah, horrible, but we can't do something. This is a 2 out of 10. Amazing and wonderful. Dr. Gwen Davies' story was great. 10 out of 10, I guess. Acting good, costume and effect good, overall premise good, goofiness and fun good, flow good, everything else was overbearing and unbearable. Coding, symbolism, dialogue, ideology, activism, identity politics, all things STW and woke. Season 7 is almost impossible to get through. It's a parody of intellectualism, and liberal ideas and sanitize the fun, require brute force viewing and comparable to previous season. I still like all the characters in the series, but this season blew. Let me get this straight. You liked everything except the politics. You thought it was woke, and because it's woke, it deserves a 1 out of 10. I cannot take you seriously. I just can't. Look, I didn't like this season. I thought, yes, some episodes were woke, some episodes were terrible, some episodes were awful. But you take it to another level. 1 out of 10, and the only thing you can say is it's woke. I can say it wasn't funny. I can say it had terrible pacing. I can say some of the episodes were filler. I can say all of the characters are generic and not needed anymore. I can say they repeat some storyline like someone else wanting to change their past. I can say. What else can I say? I think I mentioned enough issues like that. Oh yeah, it got cancelled and we don't have a proper ending? Episode 12 could have ended this season. But no, they wanted to do 13, and the 13 they wanted to give you a cliffhanger. What else can I say? I can say most of the characters don't get a good story arc. They don't get growth. Most of them are the same from the start and the finish. And yes, there's a bit of wokeness here and there in some episode. But you see, I have much more to say that is negative. Now, my focus was on the negative, but let's agree with you. Acting is fine. They are doing what they are told to do, and they do their job fine. The costume and effect are good. I agree with you. The premise is actually great. It's just poorly executed. Now, good finesse and fun, good, not really. I disagree with that. Flow, good, not really. I disagree with that. But yeah, I cannot take you seriously, man. Another person that really liked the show. This show is fun. It is chaotic, and it is unpredictable. Each season surprises you with new timeline and crazy adventures. It's a show you go home to watch to make you laugh and take the stress off the day and leave it in the past. This show is an inspiration. They represent a unique cast that displays different races, religion, and culture, and displays the LGBTQ plus whatever community, all in a crew of individuals that are flawed in the best way. This shows inspire you to keep moving forward. Not really. I want to kill myself after I watched season 6 and then 7. Despite everything that's going wrong in your life, if you made mistake and think it's irreparable, they teach you that it's okay, that there's a way to fix it. We don't have a time machine. Shut the fuck up, please. Even if you don't have a time machine. No. You can still make things right. Not really. They inspire you to do what is right instead of what is easy. Are you kidding me? No, I'm really wondering, are you kidding me? They teach nothing. Anyway, I always felt like a legend journeying with the crew on adventures to save the world. In time, it has a family dynamic where the legends suck you in, grab into your art, and when one legend leaves or retires, they take a piece of you with them. I didn't care about Nate Departure. It felt weird. It's like in the middle of a crisis, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm heading out, guys. I leave. I no more have my powers. I leave." It felt so off because people don't even use their power anymore. Overall, a lot of people disliked it, but more people liked it, I guess. A lot of people like me probably dropped out 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago. So what's left is like the core audience, like the demo the writer and the showrunner wanted. This is what's left. Everyone else they dropped out, they left. They didn't want to see more of Legends of Tomorrow. So, after watching DC's Legends of Tomorrow 10th episode in the 6th season, I was kinda hyped and excited to see episode 11. Because I will admit, the 10th episode was hands down the best episode we had since season 4. 3, I should say. And then when I turn on episode 11, what do I get? Barad making some brownie filled of green plants, and then I'm like, okay, maybe that's another filler episode, and I was freaking right because the following scene we get to see the legends into a bowling alley. Why are you doing this to me, TV show? Why? Episode 10 was great. It wasn't without its issues, but it was a good episode. So why can't you replicate it? Tell me. So yeah, Season 6 is so far the worst season the show aired because only one episode was worth watching, and this was episode 10. The rest, either I skipped it or I've seen it and I found them painful to watch. Episode 12. Another terrible one. So Gary does magic with the board game, and the episode is turned into a murder mystery made by bad writer. I cannot wait to skip that TV reality episode. I can't remember if this was season 6 or 7. All I know is this 6th season is really bad. I just don't understand the appeal and why some people would enjoy the show at this point. I just don't get it. Most of the characters are kinda bad, and they are all played for comic relief. And Nate being an historian doesn't really matter anymore at that point. What else? Mick doesn't steal anymore. The last thing he stole was in season 5. My, this show. Considering how bad Legends of Tomorrow was for the last 3 seasons, episode 13 was actually enjoyable. Is it a great episode? No. Episode 6 and 7 were much better. Furthermore, episode 10 was also much better. But here's the thing. The John Constantine part of this episode was amazing. Then we got the stuff in the ship with Bishop. Bishop is a bad villain. Yeah, he has charisma, don't get me wrong, but man, he is just that genius that knows everything because the plot wants him to know everything. His goal also feel like generic. It's not that great. They try to play on the fact that he is the father of Eva and Sarah, but the link is not really there. I don't feel it. The fact that Eva was so easily manipulated was annoying a lot. Some of the dialogue is weird, and here again, this show tried too hard to be funny when it's not. It's very sad. The new Zari is actually somewhat decent this episode. She is still nowhere near as good as the original Zari we had in season 3 and 4, but hey, this is what we get, right? Gary, as usual, he's not needed. He is not needed. I cannot stand Gary. If we just had a Constantine TV show, trust me, it would be much better. Because Constantine stuff was good in this episode. That's the best part of it. Him feeling like he's nothing. White out magic. That led him into a dark path. He is like a drug addict, and magic is his drug. And his darker side has full control. This is good. I like that. This is fitting for Constantine. And this is very relatable. So tell me, why do you have all the cringe around that? Like, you got a core story that is actually good, but it's hidden by so much diarrhea. It's so sad. So I do think this episode was mediocre at best, because Constantine is not the only thing in this episode. If I would grade only the Constantine stuff, this would be S tier. This would be one of the best episodes the show ever had. But because we got other storyline going on and the others are nowhere near as good as the Constantine one, it feels bad. It's just not a good show anymore. So I am done watching DC's Legends of Tomorrow's 6th season. Now you can see how I rank all of the episodes. And I think it's pretty much clear that this season wasn't consistent for me. A lot of the episodes are almost rock bottom. They are among the worst the show was able to do. And some of the episodes were somewhat watchable and decent. This is kind of shocking. But overall, I do think, because the downside is too bad, this season wasn't good at all. All of the episodes in the F tier belong there. They are not worth watching. Skip them. I think the ending of the season was somewhat decent. Constantine being betrayed. Well, I don't know if we can call that a betrayal, because we kind of seen it coming, and Constantine also has seen it coming, but Bishop was just smarter than him. So yeah, Constantine died at some extent. Now, it's hinted that his soul is under someone else's control, so maybe his adventure will live on because of that, but That's clearly the last time we see him because the next season he's not around. I think it was very off character for Constantine to fall in love with Zari, and it also felt forced because they don't have chemistry. These two characters didn't really work together. Now, when Zari explained why she loved Constantine and not his magic, it kind of made sense, and we can relate to that a lot. But there's the thing, that relationship at the foundation didn't make any sense. Now, maybe they could be friends, but Constantine and her are not really a good match. Anyway, it's not the first time that DC's Legends of Tomorrow like to force couple and relationship. Episode 15 had a lot of good going on for it, but there was also a lot of bad. Like a wedding. Are you kidding me? For real, are you kidding me? Because this is the end of the world. And they waste time on that wedding. But hey, it's Legends of Tomorrow. It's Legends of Tomorrow, so they don't need these 40 minutes, but they will surely use all of these 40 minutes. I think the pacing this season was godly awful, and as usual, the humor is really bad. Now, the biggest reason why episode 14 was my favorite would be the Constantine storyline, and the fact that most of what was going on was good. And it's kind of shocking coming from Legends. Now, that episode wasn't perfect. It was somewhere in the middle of the A tier. A bit higher than Bad Blood, but still worse than peak season 2 or most of season 3. Astra as a character is just fine. She is a bit better this season than season 5, but even in season 5 she wasn't that bad. Everything else was bad in season 5. Berad started to get on my nerve. He is probably the worst character in the show right now. I cannot stand him. He doesn't belong. Anyway, I think this season is all over the place. It had a few good ideas and a lot of bad ideas, a lot of filler episodes, and a lot of wasted potential. I was kind of pissed that John Constantine left just because they lost the right to him. In 2021, they were talking about a Constantine TV show on HBO Max. This is why they kind of said Legends, look, get rid of Constantine, we will use it on another show and we will recast. And yeah, it's sad. Constantine was the best part of season 4, 5, and 6. As much as these 3 seasons are really bad, I still think Constantine overall, most of the time, it was good. Season 6 is hands down his worst season. I did like the fact that there was some kind of deconstruction to help us understand Constantine, and the fact that losing magic is like losing his identity. It was well handled, but I still didn't like the way some of the things turn out. It's just like the way he lost his powers, there was nothing heroic in that. It's the same way as Sarah dying just because Venom. I think if I would grade this season, I would give it a 2 out of 10. And trust me, Constantine did level up that season for me a lot. But Bishop as a villain was weak, it was boring, it wasn't really a good villain. Charisma is not everything. Like, he's just evil because crazy scientist. There's no deeper backstory. It's just like, oh yeah, I try to help the human race, but they don't help each other, so let's just kill them all. Great villain, right? I miss so much the freaking Legion of Doom. Even Molus was better than this crap. Anyway, this is it for the 6th season. I am about to watch the 7th and last season. And this will feel good to be over with the show. Look, I did enjoy season 1, 2, and 3. Season 4 was unwatchable. And this is ironic because this was actually better than 5 and 6. I still stick around for 5 and 6 for Constantine and for content's sake, I guess. 6 is hands down rock bottom for the TV show. It's like one of the worst things CW ever made. Oh my, what a shocking moment. Look at that. 0.44 million. So they lost 50% of what they had last season, and they were able to maintain 50%. So what happened? Maybe a lot of people decided to give up on the show after watching the godly awful 5th season. Now, it's 0.47 with the 2nd episode where they basically flip burger. You think I am joking? I'm not! Even the title is cringe. So here I will say this. They didn't take a huge break, so I will assume episode 8 is the mid-season. So episode 8, 0.44. And episode 9, 0.4. So this means they maintained 0.4 during season 6. People didn't watch this season. I think only the core audience, the core fan base, the people that don't like superhero TV show stood there and watched the show. People that just like parody and dumb stuff, they kept watching. But this is why it's this low, the viewership. They had the audience they wanted, but that audience is very small. That's what's going on. That's my theory on that. They got audience they wanted, but that audience is really small. I repeat myself, I know. It's laughable how bad this one is. Wow. Okay, 0.43. It's kinda low. The fungus among us. 0.39. This hurts so much to show. I think this is the lowest viewed episode in the entire Arrowverse. I don't believe anything can be this low in the Arrowverse. Maybe Batwoman, but even there, Batwoman was roughly like 0.4 like most of the season of Legends. I'm sure if Batwoman had a 4th season, they could it lower than that, but I think this episode is the least viewed episode in the entire Arrowverse. I don't remember seeing a number this low. I just don't. So I am done watching the first 3 episodes of the final season of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. I will admit here, the first episode was bad. Was it as bad as season 6 or season 5 episode? No. It was also better than most of the 4th season, but that doesn't mean it was a good episode. Now, I've seen it a few days ago, so I can't quite remember every detail of it. All I remember is terrible dialogue, bad pacing, and some of the joke they don't really land. And now I feel like I repeat myself, but these are recurring issue with the show past the third season. Episode number 2 was actually much better than episode number 1, but here again, it's not that great. It's probably on par with some of the episodes of the first season. It's still much better than season 4, 5, and 6. So far, I do think this season was an improvement. Enter the third episode. Here, what I will tell you will change. This episode was really good. It respected the entire show. It also celebrated the entire show. This was episode number 100. So they needed to make it amazing. I liked that episode a lot. And the humor was actually good. It's shocking because humor wasn't that great the last 3 seasons. This episode felt like a season 1, 2, and 3 episode, but with the current cast. Enter Gillian Memory Lane. We get to see Snart again, and that felt good. And we got to see a parody of the Ark, and I wasn't a fan of the Ark, but guess what? In this episode, they fixed the Ark. The Ark were taking. They were taking themselves too seriously. They were not that great in the first season. So, them being turned into a parody was actually fine because in one episode, you gave a lot of charisma to Hawkman. This is great. Every emotional moment we had throughout the show were actually better handled this week. You know why? The tone. The tone. The tone! What if Legends of Tomorrow decided they kept the tone of season 2 and 3? We would have ended up with a much better TV show. But of course, they want cringe, they want eye-rolling bad humor, so we got season 4, 5, and 6. I also find really stupid how Nate killed Hoover. It's ridiculous. It's not the first time that Nate uses powers. It's not the first time that Nate stopped bullets with his powers. But it was the first time he killed someone. And that was played for humor. Now, I bring that in my episode 3 discussion only because that came back in my mind. And this reflects Legends of Tomorrow stupidity and lack of brain cell in later season. Because we get things that don't make sense because they want us to laugh at stupid stuff. Insert laugh here. Scene stupid. That's all I felt about a lot of the jokes we had in the last 3 seasons. This week, the funny stuff was actually funny. I thought these writers forgot what fun was supposed to be. This week didn't feel like a lecture on how bad men are. I say that because some of the dialogues in the first two episodes sound like that. And it's sad. This is how the show went downhill. This is a show that thinks the viewer should be stupid and the viewer is stupid. It's so sad. So the 100th episode was really good. My only really big issue with this episode is all the cringe scene with Victor Garber, aka Stain, where he was singing and Gillian decided to sing with him. It didn't feel like Stain. Dr. Stain, Victor Stain, I forgot his first name. Dr. Stain. So, Dr. Stain, yes, he was happiness, especially in the third season because he was about to become a grandpa. But I feel like Stain was acting like Ray, and they were always very different. Stain and Ray were different characters, but in this week I felt like they wanted to make them the same character with different actors. That would be the only big issues. But I'm telling you, this 100th episode is among the best episodes the show ever had. It's up there with a lot of the episodes in the second and the third season. Now, I will admit this is interesting because number increased there. 0.60 and 0.52. That's interesting because season 6 was a season not that many people tuned in and watched. But season 7 started off much better than what it was in season 6. So I guess they hooked a few people, but that's it. The mid-season finale 0.5. I skipped that episode on my most recent watch because this episode is godly awful. It's... my eyes were bleeding, my ears were bleeding. This kind of episode is the kind of stuff that give ammo to anti-woke people. That's literal ammo for these people. Anyway, Paranoid Android was actually an amazing episode. It's kind of weird. It only has 0.56. But for me, it's clear. People gave up on the show. 0.56. It's so higher than the 6th season. But it's nowhere near what it used to be. So, Too Legit to Quit. That should have been the series finale, but instead we got another one. 0.43, followed by 0.46. They were able to maintain between 0.4 and 0.5 million, which is fine. Better than 6. It's still very low. So I am done watching episode 4, 5, and 6. Episode number 4 is awful. It was terrible. And one of the few reasons why I didn't end up in failure tier is I have a limit of 30 episodes for that tier. And Mona is not in that episode, so I feel like it doesn't belong in F tier. And I've also seen the entire episode, despite the pain, and the brain so lost. The writer, they hated men deeply. Men are trash, men are awful, America was sexist, and America was shit. Well, we all know that. It was like that pretty much everywhere. We needed feminist movement to change society. But there's the thing. The writers are the one that chose to depict these characters all over the place. The writers are the one that chose for the Wave Rider to get destroyed in 1925. You know what could be much more interesting and uplifting in this crap? Them being trapped in the, I don't know, the middle age or the future, or, you know, like, there's plenty of ways you could tell a much more interesting story than another among many telling how bad the past was. I get it. What's the point of going back to that? Taking another jab? Tell me what's the point? I am not American. It's obvious from my accent. But I know how shitty this was for America. It was the same here where I live. It was actually worst. It took many more years for my country to be progressive. Because we are kinda retard where I live. But anyway. That kind of lazy storytelling is worst when your character are not good characters, and that was the case with episode number 4. Episode number 4 was a hatred speech toward the patriarchy. But that's funny because in 2023, there's no more that kind of sexist. It's now a new sexist. Sexism or whatever. Anyway, this episode, rock bottom in the E tier. It's actually higher than the series finale because the show got cancelled and the series finale is unwatchable. So I will not rewatch that because I know no outcome will be told to me as a viewer. The show ends on a cliffhanger and there's no 8th season. So live with it, you know? Episode number 5 was actually enjoyable. I think the weakest part of episode 5 would be all of the pep talks, the personal drama, the relationship seeds. This is annoying, obnoxious. I'm so done with everyone trying their best to have a relationship. Guess what? It's the same crap with episode 6. The pacing of this season is really bad. Now, I will admit, so far, there are no filler episodes. But there are no good episodes either outside of the 100th episode. The 100th episode is like a fluke in this season. And you know why? It's because they showed care. And the other thing, they tried their best to manipulate the viewer into believing the show is still good. And it worked. I was tricked. They cannot maintain quality because they are careless. They don't take their own show seriously. Why should I? So, I am done watching the 8th episode after skipping episode 7 and before skipping episode 9 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Now, here is the why I will skip 2 episodes this season. Episode 7, terrible one. The only purpose is to remind you how bad the USA were, how bad Canada was, because Canada was very similar to USA in 19-ish. They really wanted to stream feminism. Look, I'm there to be entertained. I'm not there to be reminded on how bad the past was. Because it's the past. Move on with your life. And this keeps telling me they really chose this era to be stuck in, only to deliver all these political message they wanted to share. It's not natural, it's forced. Now the reason why I skipped episode number 9 is it's the TV reality episode. I lost brain cell. I'm losing my mind. This show is so awful. Oh my. They broke my heart. This show showed me in episode 3 how good it used to be. Episode 8 showed me that these writers, they still have something special. It's just being wasted in other episode. Episode 8 is a satire on how bad the legends were, in fact, even if they were the hero to save the timeline. They depict past legends as being very black and white, and how throughout the show they changed. And this is true, I'm actually fine with them changing. What I'm not fine with is how they treat some characters and how they tackle some subjects, some topics. Not everything has a good landing. The show has turned terrible. And episode 8 was actually really good. You know why? The focus was not in our main characters. Shocking! When a TV show changed the focus from your main character to other characters, usually that's when your show becomes bad. But here's the reverse. Because now the focus is on the androids, the robot legends. It's actually better. Wait. They need to mock the past of the show to make good character? Wow. Okay. Episode number 8 is hands down the best episode this season. And it's kind of shocking that it's actually better than the 100th episode. But it is. Episode 8 really feels like a season 1 and 2, maybe even 3 of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. This episode had the focus at the right place. Give me more of that. It's very sad because this is the peak. This is the only good episode this season. Maybe the 100 is also good, but the rest is between awful and bad. This season is rough. It's actually a bit worse than what I remembered. No, let's be honest, it's much worse. I thought this season was a 6 or a 7 out of 10 the first time I've seen it, I think. Take a look to my season overview, you will find out. But this time around I realized how bad this season is. And it's just very sad. It's very sad. I'm about to shed some tear there. I had no issue at all with this episode. Wow, last time I felt like that was season 2. So what happened, Legends writer? What happened? Did you got I too many times and you lost some brain cell that were major to your good writing? I don't know. I just don't know. So I am done watching DC's Legends of Tomorrow 7th and final season because the show got cancelled. Now, I will say this. I do think this most recent watch was much worse than my first watch. The show turned really bad. This season is better than season 4, 5, and 6. This is obvious for me. But there's the thing. It's still very bad. It's very bad. It's actually awful. Now, I'm kind of divided on the grade I would give. So maybe after this chat on what went wrong for me, I will have a more clear picture of the grade I would give to this season. This season had a lot of really bad episodes, a lot of awful episodes, and this season also had great episode like the episode 100. I also enjoyed a lot. A lot. Episode number 8. That episode with the robots was great. I also enjoyed episode 11. Really strong episode. We also had Too Legit to Quit. That was a somewhat decent episode. And we had the mediocre episode 6 and 5. And then we had the rest. So half of the season is either bad or awful, unwatchable, and the other half comes from mediocre to great. And this is weird. I think this is the less consistent season in the bunch. Season 7 had a lot of good in it. But there's the thing. The show has bad writer at that point in the existence of the show. Humor don't always land anymore, but it's much better than season 4, 5, and 6. I think this season being stuck in 1925 brought something good and something bad. The good is this season felt very different. Instead of having time travel, different era and episodic things, and we actually didn't got any Western episode this season, and that's great because I feel like most of the Western episodes are really bad. I think the only one that kind of worked was in season 3, but the one in season 2 was one of the weakest episodes in that season. Most of the Western episodes were bad, awful, or mediocre, you know. So not having that kind of episode there was good. Now, the bad side of things, all of the political message they push down our throat throughout that season. Oh man, bad. Oh, dictator bad. Oh, woman, they deserve better. They should be better. I understand. I'm not 5 years old. I'm glad feminist was a thing in real life. But this is my entertainment we are talking about. We don't need to get political in entertainment. Most men depicted this season that were not part of the legends were actually disgusting beings. And it's a caricature. It reflects the worst of an era. And they chose that era. That's my issue. The pacing was also very bad, especially in episode 11 or 12. I can't remember which one this was, but they kind of force Spooner and Astra friendship at the end of the season just for us, the viewer, to realize, oh, Spooner is ace. I don't give a crap about preference and what people care for. This show had so much emphasis throughout the entire show about relationship. Sometimes it was fine, other times it was terrible, other times it was pointless. I think the only relationship I cared for was Eva and Sarah, but even there, season 4 episode centered around them was so bad. It's sad. The dialogue and some of the character are among the worst parts of this season. This season also had bad pacing. It also had filler episode like the TV reality crap we had and the female empowerment episode that I skipped. Why you want to tell us history listen the wrong way? Because I do think that's the wrong way. It's not to entertain us, it's to lecture us and how they tell us, viewer, do better. The past is trash. I agree. The past was really bad. But there's the thing. You don't need to keep reminding this to us. We know. Whoever had minimum, like, whoever had basic school learned that women were not seen as equal to men until the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, and even there, sometimes 50s. It took a long time for equality to happen, and we know that. We don't need that in our TV show. I just repeat myself for the last few minutes, but this is the biggest sin of this season. And there's also the last episode that is basically unwatchable because it ends on a cliffhanger that doesn't really get resolved. And the entire premise of that episode is covering another fixed point. Why should I get invested again to this episode? You know, like the show got cancelled, but the writer could have ended the show with episode 12 if they changed a few things by the end of episode 12, but they chose to not do such thing because they wanted to force a 8th season into the network, and we all have seen how it went. Got cancelled, and so far it's been almost a year it was cancelled, and there's no news about it coming back. So I'm sorry, but your show is dead, and it's not really worth saving. I liked the first 3 seasons. Season 4, 5, 6, and 7 were bad. 4, 5, and 6 were somewhat decent just because of Constantine. But even there, outside of Constantine, that was awful. That was bad. Bad TV. Gillian as a villain for this season is laughable. She's not a good villain. The legends were fine, the robot legends were fine, but Gillian as a villain, they were able to find lots of loophole, and just because she's a weak villain, well, these loophole worked and the legend survived Gillian. Yeah, this season was really bad, and it's funny how in the first half they made Bishop a bit better. But here's the thing, I feel like his character clashed with itself because it was all about saving people, but because the legend wiped his mind, wanted revenge on them. And despite wanting revenge on them, he still thought he was a good guy. And at some point, he realized they didn't want to harm him. And now he flips sides and he likes the legends. Bishop this season was better than last season, but it's not a very high bar. Mick not being around, that was sad. Wasn't as funny. The new character played by Matt Ryan was a good character. I enjoyed that character a lot. And the acting chops of the actor were shown. Gwen Davies really felt different from Constantine. And this is great. And Matt Ryan did great job with the material he was given. And in this season, I do think that was the best character. I don't feel like Spooner was needed around. She only got screen time with Astra because the plot wanted them to be together, and I guess these are newer actors in the show, so they are cheaper. That's how I see it. Ray was now missing for 2 seasons, but this season the cast is nowhere near as good as season 6 or 5. We lost Mick, we lost Constantine. These were pillar for the show, for me at least, because they were a good character, especially in season 6. They were the best part of the show, and now we are left with Spooner. Astra had somewhat good material. I enjoyed Astra a lot. I also enjoyed Gillian becoming a character. That's a good part of this season. But then you get Nate. It's very sad to say, but Nate wasn't needed at all. The only time around where he really mattered was when he killed someone by accident, being over. It's so sad how ridiculous this plot was forced. It's sad. Gary, this season he was better than previous season, but his only purpose in season 7 is being a plot device again. Season 6 it was more for a lore approach. He was giving some lore for the show, and it was a plot device again, but Gary is not a good character. Let's be honest, it's not a good character. Don't get me starting on freaking Barad. I cannot stand Barad. We lost Ray for Barad. That's not even funny. Now, I will admit, the new Zeri this season was much better than the Zeri we got in season 5 and 6. Like, miles ahead. But here's the thing. She wasn't as good as the original Zari. The one from season 3. That was the best Zari we got. And this is funny because they repeat the storyline where Eva doesn't really know how to deal with things. We already had that with season 5 because she needed to transition from Time Burrow to Wave Rider, and that was hard for her because now she was in charge of a different team, and that new team is not really all about rules and stuff. Now, here again, she feels like she didn't grow as a character. She didn't changed because of the legends. She is the same character she was in season 5. So they just pushed a stop or a pause button on her growth. And then they picked up this season to tell the same story. So, as much as Eva, I enjoyed her in the third and fourth season, she wasn't that good this season. This is a character driven story because, let's be honest, the plot wasn't that great. It was better than season 5. And it was also better than 6, actually. But if you watch Legends for the plot, man, I don't know what you're doing because that's clearly not the focus of the people making the show. The focus is the characters. And some shows like that can work. But if half of your cast is bad, it's really sad. So overall, I think this season should deserve a 4.5 out of 10. At first I was thinking about a 4, but then a 5, but then I realized the season is not good. It's weaker than the first season. The low points of this season are as low as season 4, 5, and 6. And then the high points of this season were as high as season 2 and 3. So I think overall it's not consistent enough. Season 1 may have some tone issues here and there. Season 1 may have the Ogs that are like basically awful characters, and Vandal Savage being a terrible villain as well. But at least it was cohesive, and it felt like this season wasn't all over the place. The first season, they knew where they started and they knew where they were going. They were not like, let's jump in that river I closed and let us like follow the river. This 7th season of Legends of Tomorrow is a really weak last season for a show that was never really great. It's sad to say, if you're not a stoner, it's hard for you to like this show. If you like superhero TV show, this TV show is not for you. It's not a superhero TV show anymore. That was more a sitcom bad comedy because it wasn't funny at some points. Now, in recent days, I gave a 4.5 out of 10 to Supergirl 2nd season, The Flash 5th season. I think among the 4.5 I gave, this season of Legends of Tomorrow is the weakest. Yeah, I said it. This season was really hard to watch. Some episodes are easy to skip because they are just terrible. And that's only because you skip them and you don't miss a thing. You don't. Because they are not needed. This is the shortest season, and it could have been much shorter again. You can take out 2 episodes. 3 actually. I almost forgot about the finale. This season could have been 11 episodes. No, 10 episodes. 10. 10 episodes. Just like the Umbrella Academy. Here is the conclusion of everything. Season 2 was my favorite, and Season 3 was the last season I enjoyed. Season 4, 5, and 6 were a huge downgrade for me. They were really hard to re-watch. Season 7 had its issues here and there. It was enjoyable and entertaining at best. Was it good? I don't think so. Is it worth watching if you never did? Probably. I mean, a lot of the core audience the show gathered over the years probably enjoyed season 7. I say probably because I don't know. I don't know how fan received the last two seasons. I know most people enjoyed what the show became with season 4, 5. They're like, that's the peak of the show. I don't know about season 6 and 7. I heard mixed stuff about season 6, which is very surprising. Anyway, uh, I think the show was cancelled because low numbers. Viewership was a thing because Zaslav was cutting stuff, and I guess CW was part of the casualties. They cut costs there, I guess, and they also wanted to have everything under the same roof with DC. So it's very sad that the show was cancelled despite having a really, really interesting audience because they were there. They tried their best. They watched the show. They were loyal to the show. They defended the show the best they could. But I guess the numbers were not there for Zaslav and the others. And because of that, the show was cancelled. So, yeah, overall, I think only 3 seasons are worth watching. But I speak for myself. For others, watch all 7, make your own mind about it. I know a lot of fans liked season 4 and 5, even if I didn't. I know a lot of people did. So because of that, it's worth giving a shot and trying. But if you realize it's not good, it won't get better. It will remain the same. And if you enjoy season 4 and 5, go ahead. Watch 6 and 7 if it's not done yet. And I'm pretty sure you will find something in that. With that being said, this is the last part of the retrospective, so I guess I can give a grade to the overall show as a whole, as an entire being, as an entire season. I would grade the entire show a 4 out of 10. It's very sad, and the biggest reason why it's not lower it's because season 2 and 3 were amazing for me. They were the peak of the show, and they are like probably 2 or 3 points of these 4. Season 6 had interesting element to it, but this is interesting element like Constantine story there. That was a good story. That was the only thing watchable for me. That was the only thing that redeemed in some way that season. Season 6 overall killed my 2 favorite character of the show, Sarah Lance and Constantine. And then they're like, just like our new Sarah, she is an hybrid, she's badass, right? She can die as many times as she can, as she want, you know? It's not funny anymore. Anyway, what are your thoughts? If it's not done yet, please like, comment, and subscribe. We will see each other in future video and stream. Have a great day. Take care.